December 9, 2018, Orchard Park, NY, USA. New York Jets co-owner and chairman Christopher Johnson looks on from the field prior to the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Mandatory credit, Rich Barnes. USA Today Sports. Rich Barnes, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Christopher Johnson refuses to deliver a playoff mandate to his Jets. Mike Maccagnan will only concede his team looks better on paper, and now Adam Gase has joined the muffled chorus by saying only that his team should be in the conversation in December. For a franchise that gave the world Joe Namath and Rex Ryan, they sure seemed to have forgotten that fortune favors the bold. So it's time for the Jets to remove their muzzles and say what their fans are probably afraid to even think out loud. Their rebuilding project is nearing completion. They have their franchise quarterback, a new offensive star, and a bright, young coach with some much-needed energy. So it's okay to have high expectations. There is no reason at all why the Jets won't be, a playoff team this year. I'm looking at it as if we stay healthy, we should be in the conversation in December, Gase said during the NFL coaches' breakfast at the owners' meetings on Tuesday morning. That's realistic. We have a good quarterback. We have a lot of good pieces around him. We feel like we've added a lot of pieces on defense. It's all going to be about how we play in that late November to December area. You're talking about a 6-week span where every team in this league, it's all going to be decided in those weeks. There's going to be 3 or 4 teams that are going to be eliminated already, and everybody else is going to have a shot. It's just going to be about who takes advantage of it. Okay, look, nobody was expecting Gase to offer a Namath-like guarantee, or do a Ryan-like refusal to kiss Bill Belichick's rings. Guarantees are pointless, and too often haunt the guarantor in the end. And everyone still remembers how quickly Ryan went from being a bolt of energy in the organization to looking like a clown. But the P word isn't something that should be kept behind locker room doors. Goals are good. And when it comes to the playoffs, it's okay for the Jets to insert themselves into that conversation now. They have spent 2 years spending wildly in free agency. They've benefited from even more years of picking high in the draft. They have rebuilt their offensive line and secondary. In Le'Veon Bell, they have one of the best running backs in the league, and with the addition of Jamison Crowder, they are convinced they have a dangerous receiving core. And from what everyone saw from Sam Darnold down the stretch of last season, it's clear they have a quarterback who should be much better in his second year. Are they going to the Super Bowl? Probably not this season. Nor are they likely to dethrone the Patriots in the NFC East. But the bar for the playoffs is lower. A 10-6 record was enough to get in last season. Very so often all a team needs is to be 9-7. The Jets were 5-11 last season, but 6 of their losses were by 8 points or fewer. It's not that hard to find 4 games at least that they easily could have won. Now, they are better. They are. It's just a fact. Darnold was a rookie throwing to special teamers and practice squad players at the end of last year, and it still took 442 yards by Aaron Rodgers and in overtime for the Packers to beat the Jets 44-38 in Week 16. Now Darnold has Bell and Crowder and better protection, plus better coaching and a defense that is stocked with more players. The Jets are playoff caliber. They should be a playoff team. Why is that so hard to say? I sure as hell hope we're a playoff team, Johnson said on Sunday. Look, I want to win every game. We can't get there fast enough. I've said it before, I'm an impatient man. I want this team to win. And I think that we have a really good chance to be a quite good team this year. If we stay healthy, I think we'll be in the right spot at the end of the year, Gase said. If lost a bunch of really good players, our probability goes down, sigh. So much for throwing caution to the wind. So much for firing up a downtrodden fan base that hasn't watched the Jets in the playoffs in any of the last 8 seasons, and incredibly hasn't seen a home playoff game since 2003. About the closest anyone came this week to even mild bravado was when Johnson said, "Look, if we win a Lombardi trophy, I'll wear it around like a crown until people are sick of me." That strange image is closer to becoming reality than any of the Jets are willing to admit publicly. These Jets are ready. The pieces are in place. They absolutely should be considered a playoff contender. There's no reason to hide from that. They should embrace it. Adam Gase touched on several topics during his media session with reporters in Arizona on Tuesday at the NFL owners' meetings. The new Jets coach discussed realistic playoff expectations, the litany of roster additions and, of course, the Patriots. Here are some of the main takeaways from what Gase said Tuesday. The NFL Shield logo on a football helmet. Adam Hunger, USA Today Sports. Images with player safety a continued emphasis for the NFL. Owners held a pair of votes Tuesday to improve the game in that sense. The kickoff changes implemented last season, which eliminated wedge blocks, disallowed running start and instituted alignment regulation, was voted on and made permanent. According to the NFL, concussions decreased by 38% on kickoffs last year compared to 2015-17. New York Jets general manager Mike Maccagnan looks on prior to the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Rich Barnes, USA Today Sports. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. Phoenix. As Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sat in a conference room when he spoke to reporters on Monday afternoon, he wasn't standing under a banner that read, "Mission accomplished." He knows he still has work to do to turn the Jets into playoff contenders. But this offseason, Maccagnan made it pretty clear that he did what he set out to do. Darren Lee, 58, mandatory credit. Tim Fuller, USA Today Sports. Tim Fuller, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. Phoenix. As Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sat in a conference room when he spoke to reporters on Monday afternoon, he wasn't standing under a banner that read, "Mission accomplished." He knows he still has work to do to turn the Jets into playoff contenders. But this offseason, Maccagnan made it pretty clear that he did what he set out to do. Maccagnan wants to make moves. 0 hours 1 minute and 31 seconds. SNY NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano reports from the NFL owners' meetings, where Jets GM Mike Maccagnan has designs on more draft picks. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. Phoenix. Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sounded hopeful a few weeks ago that teams would get so desperate to draft one of the top quarterbacks this year that he could land a windfall and trade for the 3rd overall pick. With 1 month to go until the NFL draft begins, it sounds like that hope is still part of his plan. October 28, 2018, Chicago, Illinois, USA. New York Jets outside linebacker Brandon Copeland, 51, takes a knee moments before the game against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Mandatory credit. Quinn Harris, USA Today Sports. Quinn Harris. The Jets are bringing back a promising piece of their defense from last season. The team announced on Monday that they have resigned linebacker Brandon Copeland. Copeland, 27, had a career year with the Jets last season, recording 5 sacks and 14 quarterback hits in addition to 35 tackles in 16 games. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Johnson on the sidelines before a game against the New England Patriots at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. The Jets have been one of the most active teams in the NFL this offseason. Between a coaching change, a few big-name signings in free agency, control of the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft and heightened expectations, the Jets haven't had this much to look forward to entering a season in quite a while. Owner Christopher Johnson, speaking at the NFL's owners' meetings in Arizona on Sunday, touched on those topics, plus more. Here are the main takeaways from what the Jets owner had to say. August 26, 2017, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Wold Johnson left talks to general manager Mike Maccagnan before a preseason game against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. Phoenix. Mike Maccagnan's long rebuilding of the Jets should theoretically be complete now. Maybe not completely complete, as in they're ready to make a run to the Super Bowl. But, after 2 years of lavish spending and high draft picks, being a playoff contender shouldn't be unrealistic. Not that Jets CEO Christopher Johnson is going to give Maccagnan a playoff mandate. But surely, the expectations have to be as high as a playoff berth now, right? New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski spikes the ball after a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles in the third quarter in Super Bowl 52 at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mark J. Rebels, USA Today Sports. For Jets fans, the nightmare of a wide-open Rob Gronkowski streaking down the middle of the field is over. The former Patriots tight end announced his retirement Sunday in a post on his Instagram page. It had been speculated over the last few seasons Gronkowski would step away from the game, given the injuries the 29-year-old endured and the physical toll his massive frame was exposed to throughout a 16-game slate year in and year out. Thank you to all of Pats Nation around the world for the incredible support since I have been a part of this first-class organization, he wrote in the lengthy message. Thank you for everyone accepting who I am and the dedication I have put into my work to be the best player I could be. But now it's time to move forward with a big smile, knowing that the New England Patriots organization, Pats Nation, and all my fans will be truly a big part of my heart for rest of my life. Draft profile, LB Josh Allen 0 hours 0 minutes and 33 seconds. Check out the highlights and the numbers from Kentucky Wildcats linebacker, Josh Allen, heading into the 2019 NFL Draft. The Jets will have a pre-draft meeting with Kentucky pass rusher Josh Allen sometime in the near future, even though GM Mike Maccagnan isn't at his pro day, according to ESPN's Rich Cimini. Allen, who is considered one of the top defensive players in the NFL Draft, also has scheduled visits with the 49ers, Raiders, Giants and Lions, according to NBC Sports' Matt Mayoko. A 6'5", 262-pound linebacker from Montclair, New Jersey, Allen posted impressive numbers at the NFL Combine, running a 4.63-second 40-yard dash, putting up 28 reps on the bench press and recording a 118-inch broad jump. Mike Maccagnan is expected. The Jets have been extremely busy in free agency as the lead into the NFL Draft. And when late April comes around, New York has great position at No. 3 to add another immediate impact player for next season, but with that high draft pick and the Jets already settled in the quarterback department, GM Mike Maccagnan will certainly be listening to phone calls to potentially make a trade to move down. The Jets will likely be looking for a defensive playmaker with that third overall selection, and though players like the Josh Allen and Nick Bosa are in the conversation in the top 3, there are still plenty more elite prospects to choose from. But if all signs point to the Cardinals selecting QB Kyler Murray first overall, the Jets would likely keep that number 3 pick to get either Allen or Bosa. February 28, 2018, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. New York Jets general manager Mike Maccagnan speaks to the media during the 2018 NFL Combine at the Indianapolis Convention Center. Mandatory credit, Trevor Rishkovsky. USA Today Sports. Trevor Rishkovsky, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter. Archive. The Jets have only 6 picks in the upcoming NFL Draft, and with so many holes on their roster, they'll need to use them wisely. It's still early, but here's a look at how those 6 picks could go. First round, no. 3 overall, DT Quinnen-Williams, Alabama, August 18, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Trevor Seaman, 3, calls a play during the second quarter against Jacksonville Jaguars at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit, Bryce Hemmelgarn. USA Today Sports. Bryce Hemmelgarn. The Jets have found their backup quarterback as QB. Trevor Seaman signed a 1-year deal with the team, his agent Mike McCartney confirming via Twitter. Seaman's deal has a $2 million base salary that could reach $3 million with incentives. With veteran QB Josh McCown still undecided as to whether he wants to play next season, the Jets brought in an experienced backup for Sam Darnold now in Seaman to fill out the depth chart. Davis Webb, who was acquired off waivers when the Giants cut him last year, is also under contract for the 2019 season. The 27-year-old wanted a change of scenery as the Vikings were interested in bringing him back for another season to sit behind Kirk Cousins. However, he is now joining Gang Green and provides the Jets with more than just a serviceable option in case something happens to Darnold. August 26, 2017, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Wold Johnson left talks to general manager Mike Maccagnan before a preseason game against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Brad Penner. USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, with their quarterback situation in shambles, the Redskins are sniffing around about trading up in the NFL draft, reports Jason LaCanfora of NFL.com. LaCanfora speculates that the play for the Redskins could be to trade from No. 15 to get the Jets pick at No. 3. That would allow them to jump ahead of the Giants at No. 6 and snatch Ohio State QB Dwayne Haskins from them, if he is indeed who the Giants are targeting. Aside from the Giants and Redskins as candidates who could try to deal with the Jets for No. 3. LaCanfora mentions the Broncos and Jaguars, but doubts either would do it. December 4, 2017, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell, 26, sits on the bench against the Cincinnati Bengals in the first half at Paul Brown Stadium. Mandatory credit, Aaron Doster. USA Today Sports. Aaron Doster, for the first time in a long time, Le'Veon Bell is truly happy. The new Jets running back, who signed a 4-year, $52.5 million deal with $35 million guaranteed, is ready for a fresh new start in New York while leaving behind some ugly memories in Pittsburgh, where he chose to sit out the entire 2019 season. But it was more than just about the money for Bell. While he previously detailed the roller coaster of the last year he had negotiating with the Steelers, the 27-year-old opened up a little more about his experience in Pittsburgh on the field and in the locker room during an interview with Sports Illustrated, particularly how the organization compares with the Jets, from whom he immediately felt a different vibe than he never had with the Steelers. Le'Veon Bell. Charles Leclerc, USA Today Sports. Jets' new RB Le'Veon Bell was under tons of scrutiny last season for holding out from the Steelers, and declining to sign his franchise tag to play in 2018. But that wasn't his initial plan as he headed into the season. In an interview with ESPN's Jeremy Fowler this weekend, Bell said he had every intention to return to Steelers camp during the Week 7 bye. But it looks like Bell actually wanted to return to the team after Week 1 following an exclusive interview with Sports Illustrated. At first I was literally thinking like, I don't want to play Camp in Otis because of the hurt in my body and I'm like, I'm not playing, Bell told Sports Illustrated's Jenny Vrentas. When Week 1 comes, I'm going to come, but the things that kind of led up to Week 1, I starting thinking, I'm not going to play Week 1, after even Week 1, it started to build up and it's not making me feel comfortable. October 21, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Trevor Seaman, 3, smiles during warm-up before game against New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Noah K. Murray. USA Today Sports. Noah K. Murray. While the Jets have been busy this offseason, there are still some areas they must address, such as a backup quarterback to Sam Darnold. While Josh McCown is still undecided on a return for next season, the Jets plan to meet with free agent quarterback Trevor Seaman on Wednesday. SNY's Ralph Bacchiano confirmed. Seaman, 27, spent last season as the backup with the Minnesota Vikings behind Kirk Cousins after he was traded there a year ago by the Broncos. September 10, 2017, Orchard Park, NY, USA. New York Jets tight end Derek Tomlinson, 83, warms up before the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Mandatory credit, Timothy T. Ludwig. USA Today Sports. Timothy T. Ludwig. With Le'Veon Bell a new centerpiece in the Jets' offense, the organization brought back two familiar faces to strengthen their blocking schemes Tuesday. New York resigned offensive lineman Brent Cavalli and tight end Derek Tomlinson, who primarily operates as a blocking tight end in the offense. The team also confirmed the signing of tight end Daniel Brown. Tomlinson ended last season on injured reserve after he dropped a weight on his foot. Before that, he made 12 starts and appeared in 15 games, and served as a special teams contributor. First joined the Jets in 2016 and has played in 36 games total with 16 catches for 193 yards and 1 career touchdown. Chicago Bears tight end Trey Burton celebrates with tight end Daniel Brown after scoring a touchdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during the first half at Soldier Field. Emil Kurzaczynski, USA Today Sports. The Jets signed former Bears and Ravens tight end Daniel Brown to a contract, according to his agent. Brown, 26, played in 14 games last season but did not record a completion on offense. He spent most of his time on special teams. Since debuting with Baltimore in 2015, Brown has 35 catches for 317 yards and 1 touchdown. New York Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, 14, prepares to throw the ball against the New England Patriots during the first quarter at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner, Ryan Fitzpatrick's renaissance behind center will bring him back to the AFC East. The QB signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with Miami on Sunday, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter and other reports. Fitzpatrick quarterbacked the Jets for 2 seasons in 2015 and 2016 before heading to Tampa Bay for 2 years. His new contract, though, gives him the chance to face his old team twice a year. It will be his third go-around in the division. He played 4 seasons in Buffalo, December 30, 2018, Baltimore, Maryland, USA, Baltimore Ravens inside linebacker, C.J. Mosley, 57, reacts after sacking Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, not pictured during the second half at M. Mandatory credit, Tommy Gilligan, USA Today Sports. Tommy Gilligan, bent the JetsBlog.com follow on Twitter. While the Le'Veon Bell signing received the most attention, the biggest financial outlay for the Jets this offseason was the C.J. Mosley deal. The former Baltimore Ravens linebacker signed a 5-year contract worth up to $85 million. Will it prove to be worth it though? There's no doubting Mosley's talent, as he's been a Pro Bowler and second-team All-Pro in 4 of his 5 seasons. The Ravens went to the postseason twice in those 5 years with Mosley anchoring their defense, including an AFC North Division title win in 2018. He has 9 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries in his career, so he should provide some impact plays. The Jets are most likely to employ Mosley as the middle linebacker in Greg Williams' new system. In fact, there's a good chance Williams may have identified Mosley as an ideal central cog to install his scheme around. Ideally, he would have had Anthony Barr as well, but that move obviously fell apart at the 11th hour. Another clue as to how important the Jets saw having a player of Mosley's caliber on the team comes from the size of his contract. Le'Veon Bell, 26, mandatory credit, Charles Leclerc, USA Today Sports. Charles Leclerc, New Jets running back Le'Veon Bell had every intention of returning to the Steelers during their Week 7 bye to sign his franchise tender, hit the field several weeks later and play out the rest of the season, believing he had no other choice if he wanted an accrued season in order to hit free agency this year. But in an interview with ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Bell revealed that he learned from social media that he didn't need to play at all to hit free agency as long as the Steelers didn't tag him again. Once, he confirmed that with his agent, his goal to remain off the field the whole season to preserve his health for more guaranteed money was back in play. That was the biggest mix-up the whole time, Bell told Fowler. I thought I had to sit out until week 10 or else they can tag me again. Around before the bye week, that's when I found out I didn't have to play. October 29, 2017, Orchard Park, NY, USA, Oakland Raiders offensive guard Kelechi Osemele, 70, against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Mandatory credit, Timothy T. Ludwig, USA Today Sports. Timothy T. Ludwig, with the recent flurry of big-name signings, the first major move of the offseason is perhaps being overlooked. The Jets acquired 2-time Pro Bowl guard Kelechi Osemele from the Raiders in exchange for a day 3 pick swap. here's why that move could end up being the most important one the Jets have made this offseason: a change in attitude. Machado Kid joins BNNY 0 hours 0 minutes and 56 seconds. Jacob Carpenter went viral with his take on why he didn't want Manny Machado on the Yankees. Much more Yankees and Jets takes on BNNY. Nearly 1 month later, Jacob Carpenter's mind hasn't changed. The Machado Kid, who went viral in SNY's video of his reaction to Manny Machado signing with the Padres, is still glad that the star infielder didn't end up with the Yankees. "I'm definitely happy that Machado did not sign," Carpenter said while he was an in-studio guest on Baseball Night in New York. Le'Veon Bell, Charles Leclerc, USA Today Sports, Ralph Bacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. The Jets put their faith in Mike Maccagnan on the day in December when they fired coach Todd Bowles. Ownership was making it clear it believed in the general manager's plan and vision. Christopher Johnson had faith that Maccagnan could carry it out. So armed with nearly $100 million in salary cap space as they headed into free agency, Maccagnan headed into one of the most crucial off-seasons this star-crossed franchise has ever had. He needed to win big. He needed some splashy signings. And he certainly didn't disappoint. New York Jets former running back Curtis Martin enters the stadium for the Professional Football Enshrinement ceremonies at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Charles Leclerc, USA Today Sports. Le'Veon Bell said one of the reasons he joined the Jets was because he idolized Hall of Famer Curtis Martin growing up. And Martin believes Bell has what it takes to follow him to Canton. For a guy like Le'Veon, it's not about, can he make it to the Hall of Fame? He's like an Adrian Peterson-like guy. Those guys, they don't have to play 12, 13, 14 years to make it to the Hall of Fame if they just work hard and take care of business now, Martin said, according to the New York Post's Steve Serby. While Le'Veon Bell chose Jets 0 hours 1 minute and 5 seconds, New York Jets running back Le'Veon Bell explains why deep down he wanted to choose the Jets. Jamal Adams' excellent recruiting also helped. When Le'Veon Bell entered free agency this offseason, he always had the Jets on his list of desired teams. And once GM Mike Maccagnan came calling with the right offer, he knew he had to pull the trigger. "The Jets were just kind of the team I had in the back of my mind where I wanted to go," Bell told SNY's Ralph Bacchiano over a conference call after the Jets made the signing official Thursday night. But the numbers Bell agreed to came under heavy scrutiny. The Steelers offered him a 5-year, $70 million deal, but after sitting out a year to keep his body fresh and hopefully increase his value on the market, he agreed to a 4-year, $52.5 million contract with the Jets. New York Jets kicker Chandler Catanzaro makes a field goal as punter Lack Edwards holds the ball during the first half at Raymond James Stadium. Kim Clement, USA Today Sports. The Jets resigned kicker Chandler Catanzaro to replace Pro Bowler Jason Myers, the team announced Friday. Catanzaro, 28, was 16 for 20 on field goals and 30 for 35 on extra points in 13 games with the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season. He was 0 for 3 between 40 and 49 yards but made all 3 of his attempts from at least 50 yards. With New York in 2017, Catanzaro made 25 of 30 field goals and converted all 29 extra points. He was 12 for 17 in the 40-yard range and 2 for 2 from beyond 50. November 25, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Minnesota Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr, 55, reacts after making a play during the third quarter against the Green Bay Packers at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit. Harrison Barden, USA Today Sports. Harrison Barden, Anthony Barr got cold feet right after the engagement. He told his agent he would take a deal with the Jets but had immediate regrets. After a quick panic he decided to call off the wedding. "It wasn't necessarily physically ill. It wasn't the middle of the night. It was more so when I hung up the phone after saying, 'Yeah, I can do New York,' my stomach dropped. I kind of got some cold sweats," Barr told NFL Network on Thursday.